In this video, we're going to show you how to install the shock on your Jeep Grand Cherokee located on the rear of the suspension. Using your 19mm socket, loosen and remove your lug nuts. Once you have the lug nuts removed, grab the wheel and set it aside. On the top of the shock right here, you're going to find a 15mm bolt. We're going to use our impact gun and our socket to go ahead, loosen and remove that. On the bottom of the shock, you're going to find the bolt going through. We're going to use an 18mm wrench on the nut side, and we're going to use a 15mm socket with our impact on the bolt side here. Now normally this will pop right out. Might kind of wiggle that around a little bit. And if that doesn't want to come out, we're going to go ahead and pop a little pry bar right in there and pop that out. Now we're just going to clean out the inside. Any debris, stuff like that. Just kind of make it a little bit neater. Now when we removed our shock here, we're using an 18mm wrench on this side here. Our particular vehicle has a fixed nut here. That is not always the case on all of the vehicles. You might have a separate nut that would come off with the bolt. So you're all set with that. Just remove that bolt. Let's go ahead and feed our upper portion of the shock into place. We put some anti-seize compound on the threads of our bolt. Feed that in. I like to thread that in as far as I can by hand. Now when we install our shock, we had the larger portion of the sleeve on the top. That is a dust and dirt shield, and we have the smaller diameter tube on the bottom. Let's go ahead and remove our strap here. You can cut it or just slip it off to the side. And you can watch the shock extend out into position. I'm going to bring that over. Now in our particular case here, the shock extended doesn't fully line up with the bracket down below, and that is typical. What we're going to do is put a jack underneath our axle and compress our suspension just that little bit so we can get the bolt through. Now with our jack underneath our axle here, we can go ahead and raise this up just a couple turns here, and our bolt hole is already lining up with our shock. Let's go ahead and get our bolt installed. We put some anti-seize compound on those threads. And I just used a pry bar underneath here just to kind of wiggle the shock up and down a little bit so that that bolt will line up. Torque our lower shock bolt to 85 foot-pounds. Torque the upper bolt to 80 foot-pounds. Once we torque these here, we're going to go ahead and remove our jack. With our jack removed, we can now install the wheel, put it back on the ground, and repeat for the passenger side. Once you're done with both shocks, you're all set. Okay, grab your wheel, line it up onto the studs, set it into place. We want to go ahead and install our lug nuts. Going to get them all started by hand first. Once we have these all started by hand, we'll come back and snug them down. Torque the lug nuts to 100 foot-pounds.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.